Imagine a tower that challenged the very heavens, and an event that forever altered the course of humanity. We are about to uncover the secrets behind the grand yet tragic Tower of Babel. Why did the ancient Babylonians decide to construct this colossal tower? How did God respond to this challenge? And what profound lessons can we extract from this story? This journey promises to reveal the extraordinary power of biblical narratives. The story of the Tower of Babel is found in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament of the Bible, specifically in verses 1 to 9 of chapter 11. This narrative begins after the flood, when humanity begins to multiply and spread across the earth. Although the Bible does not specify the exact location of the Tower of Babel, various theories and hypotheses suggest that it could have been located in Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon, or another region. In the early stages of history, all the inhabitants of the earth spoke the same language and had a common ambitious purpose. They planned to build a city with a tower that would reach the heavens. This tower, known as the Tower of Babel, was seen as a symbol of power and human achievement. The main motivation behind this endeavor was clear. They wanted to demonstrate their power, authority, and avoid being scattered across the face of the earth. Given the context of the biblical narrative, which occurs after Noah's flood, it is possible that the builders of the Tower of Babel also had a persistent fear of another flood. They may have believed that building a tall tower reaching the heavens was a way to protect themselves against the return of a catastrophic flood. This motivation would be linked to the preservation of life and the survival of the community in an environment where the floods of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers were a constant threat. However, their disobedience represented disbelief and lack of submission to divine will, preferring to follow their own path rather than divine guidance. Led by a man named Nimrod, whose charisma and persuasive power were immeasurable, the builders had grand ambitions. This ambition led to the desire to build an increasingly taller tower that ultimately reached the heavens. Descendant of Noah, Nimrod is mentioned in the Bible as a notable king of great power on earth. According to Jewish interpretations, Nimrod was responsible for the initial commission of the construction of the Tower of Babel, a tyrant seeking to distance people from God's inspiration. In this context, the idea of building the tower emerged in an attempt to challenge God. It is important to note that Babel was the capital of the wealthy and powerful Babylon, where the construction of pyramid-shaped temples was a common practice among the Babylonians, Sumerians, and Assyrians. Another notable name associated with the construction of the Tower of Babel is that of Nebuchadnezzar II, one of the most prominent emperors of antiquity. He ruled Babylon with great power, and his acquisitions included numerous conquests and significant conflicts. According to historical records, Nebuchadnezzar II oversaw the reconstruction of the Tower of Babel. Reports suggest that the original construction began around 58 BC. Before Christ, Nebuchadnezzar II conquered Jerusalem, looting the city and taking with him the most skilled and intellectually capable inhabitants to Babylon. These prisoners of war were Jews who were forced to work under the command of the king. They provided us with the description of the Tower of Babel recorded in the Bible. These historical events and figures are fundamental to our understanding of the construction and reconstruction of the Tower of Babel, providing a broader context for this significant biblical narrative. Considering the historical and architectural context of ancient Mesopotamia, where the story of the Tower of Babel is often associated, it is possible that the initial structure was a ziggurat. Ziggurats were stepped temple towers with stairs or ramps leading to the sanctuary at the top. They were common in the region and served as places of religious worship. Construction materials would likely have been sun-dried mud bricks, which were widely used in Mesopotamia. These bricks were made of clay and straw and, when stacked and dried, formed durable structures. Although the Bible does not provide a specific height for the Tower of Babel, it is often depicted in illustrations and religious art as a very tall structure reaching towards the sky. However, God, disappointed, observed what was happening and decided to intervene in the construction. He would not allow humanity to follow its own path, defying his authority, especially by disobeying his instructions. So, in a divine act, God decided to confuse the languages of all the tower builders. Suddenly, each builder began to speak and understand a different language, making communication between them impossible. Initially, this act caused enormous confusion, ruining the continuation of the project and the plans to build a tower reaching the heavens. After the confusion of languages, chaos ensued in that city. The inability to coexist in a society with diverse groups of people speaking different languages made communication and coexistence impossible, leading to the dispersal of humanity into different groups and regions. The name Babel is derived from the Hebrew word be with makronel, meaning confusion. This is a direct reference to the confusion of languages that occurred in the story. This dispersion of the population into different regions fulfilled God's original will for humanity to spread across the earth after the flood, so that it would be fully populated. Each linguistic group gave rise to its own culture, nation, and identity. The story of the Tower of Babel is often related to the emergence of Semitic languages, such as Hebrew and Aramaic, with profound implications for the history of language. Furthermore, the diversification of human languages resulting from the Tower of Babel changed the history and culture of humanity, demonstrating how biblical events have deeply influenced the world over the centuries. This story also highlights the need to seek God's will in our lives and recognize that our existence depends on Him. In summary, the narrative of the Tower of Babel is more than an ancient story. It is a parable about the consequences of disobedience, the danger of pride, and the importance of acknowledging God's sovereignty in our lives. If you've made it this far, it means you must have enjoyed the content. Therefore, I ask you to subscribe to the channel and leave your comments. What topic would you like to see in the next video? Hugs, and stay with God.